There's a lot of ways to have leadership in today's society. The thing that I choose to talk about today is running a family-owned car lot. Most people think that running a family-owned business is a piece of cake. They think you go in at 8 o'clock in the morning and you get off at 5 o'clock and it's no big deal, that you have no responsibilities. I'm here to say that those people are wrong and that it takes a lot of hard work, integrity, and leadership to run a family-owned business. My family has owned Mills Auto Sales in Henderson, Kentucky for 50 years. I would be considered a fourth-generation salesperson. It takes a generous amount of leadership to continue a family business such as this. There are many aspects to running this business. The first one is actually running the business. When you run a family-owned business, you have to allot for many things. You have to allot for the bills, for the paychecks, and for the supplies of the office. When you allot for the bills, you think about things such as, do you own the property that you sit on? If not, you have to pay rent. Do you allot enough for the electricity to be on? You have to allot for that as well. Do you allot enough to pay the salespeople a generous wage? Starting there, you have to keep up with one of these. This would be the checkbook, as well as the ledger to keep record of what goes where. And things to think about where all these bills go for a family-owned car lot. You think about purchases, the vehicles that you purchase straight out with no trade-ins, tax and licensing to license the business, keep the business going as a licensed business, the floor plan, which you have to run a car lot, hauling fee to get your vehicles to and from where they need to go without actual drivers, gas and oil. You have to fill the cars up with gas and take care of the oil changes, and supplies and shop towels, utilities, and many other things go into allotting for the bills. When you allot for the paychecks, you have to think, how many cars a week or month does the salesperson sell? With me, it's a bare minimum since I do not do this as a full-time job. But for someone who would work full-time, you have to think, how many hours a week do they put in? How many cars do they sell that week? How many cars do they bring in that week? And how many cars they get through the shop and detailed ready to go out that week? Recently, there have been a lot of pay cuts, according to the manager, because of unforeseen circumstances where business has gone down substantially. And coming to that, you have to expect the unexpected and plan for it. What we have here is a bankrolling capital, and if it's good, on the good spectrum, there's more money to go to places that it's needed. But if it's on the bad spectrum, which is the downhill, there's less money to go, and you just have to find ways to keep it level. Planning for the unexpected is bad sales, emergencies that happen on the job, broken windows, broken into cars, and worst case scenario, cars being stolen. You have to keep the office stocked. Keeping the office stocked means you have to keep things like, not only things like tape and staples and lots of pins, but you also have to keep things like phone books and supplies that actually have to go towards selling cars, such as the NADA books. These come out once a month, and they show the current values of every vehicle that is on the market. And not only do you have to plan for those kind of supplies, you also have to think about, with a used car lot, there is a detail shop. You have to take care of the supplies such as the batteries, which can get very expensive and costly. You have to think about the shop towels, the soap, the water, especially the water when you're washing the vehicles. Think about replacement parts, touch-up paints, and also fixing vehicles and getting parts in when you need them, which here, us being a small dealership, we have to outsource to the bigger dealerships such as Chevrolet, Ford, and Dodge. The next big aspect of this business is the inventory, which is probably, as most people thinking of a used car lot, the most important part of the car lot. Well, next to the business it is, because when you see a used car lot, you think, okay, what kind of vehicles do they have? Keeping it stocked is the number one priority. Right now, we only have about 10 vehicles on our lot because we are not the biggest dealership in town, but we do keep clean and certified vehicles. We cannot overcrowd because we do not have the room for the vehicles, but the ones we do keep are clean, certified, and have the Carfax to go with them. We have to keep the inventory clean. We pride ourselves on being a dealership that sells clean used cars, which is part of our motto. Usually about once or twice a month, all the cars here get a bath. And we also detail the inside of them and vacuum the floors before we sell them. The biggest part of this is knowing your inventory. You have to be prepared for any question. You know, people only think of the basics sometimes whenever they come up. They think, how much, what year, what kind of motor, has there been any accidents, what kind of wheels are on it. You know, then some people come up with questions like, how many gallons does the gas tank hold, for example, or who was the previous owner and can you tell me about that? You have to be prepared to answer any question, which is a big part of the leadership. You have to know your vehicles. You have to know what to expect. You have to know what to expect whenever you're talking about the vehicles. And you have to have the prices set with all the salespeople so they're not confusing people. Say, I go out, I tell somebody that a car is a certain price. The next day they come back. They say, well, how much do you want for this vehicle? And another salesperson tells them another price. Well, that's not what they said yesterday. You have to know your sales prices and have them confirmed with everybody before you do anything. And the biggest thing about your inventory is to be honest with the customers. We pride ourselves on being a Carfax-worthy dealership, and we also tell about the title brands, which I will get into in just a minute. You have to know your customers. You have to know what you're doing. You have to be confident about what you're doing, have a positive attitude and body language, or else they would probably trample all over you. With having a positive attitude and body language, though, do not beat them to death trying to sell. You see all these commercials talking about these overeager salespeople running out to tackle you onto the lot, and a lot of dealerships that is true. Us, we wait until you come to us or we see you looking at our inventory, and we encourage them with the facts. We don't try to sugarcoat vehicles to sell them. As much as it hurts sometimes to tell the truth, we tell the truth to get vehicles sold, because we don't want people coming back to us saying, well, you didn't tell me this. The least fun part of running the business is the paperwork. Here we have a record of cars. We keep records of all the cars that we have sold for the past 20 years. For example, I'll use my vehicle, which was sold from here as well. There are things in here, such as service records. This one happens to be from Raven Tire. Records of when the vehicle was licensed. And also the title. The titles are the biggest part of selling the vehicles. You have to know where to fill out and what to do, or else the title becomes null and void and starts costing money. When somebody trades in a vehicle to you, they give you the title, and you fill out a part on here that is clearly marked dealer only, and that's called dealer assign, and that gets the title out of the customer's name and saves them money for the next year. And then when you decide to sell a vehicle, you also use the same title on the back side, which in Kentucky we call that the VTR. you use that to transfer it into the correct name, and that goes to Frankfurt, and it shows them that this vehicle is no longer in Mills Auto Sales' name. There is such a thing also as C of O sales, which is the same exact thing, except for you get a certificate of origin from the car manufacturer, and that also goes to Frankfurt, and you receive a title for it. Bill of sales. This is a standard bill of sale, terms of contract sale. You put in the cash sale purchase price, the delivery and handling, tax and license, lien filing if you need to, which by the way, a lien is a loan or borrowed money against the vehicle that you buy. And also, you have to think about if a vehicle comes in from out of state. Not every vehicle we buy is in Kentucky. If you do, you have to use the real VTR, which comes from the county clerk's office. And you have to attach that with the title, because that is the title application to get a new Kentucky title. We cannot stress enough the importance of odometer statements. That is the biggest part. You do not want somebody messing up on their odometer. It takes their vehicle value down. Window stickers and buyer guides are the two big things as well. In Kentucky, law requires that if requested, you shall be furnished with the name, address, and telephone, if available, of the previous owner of the vehicle, and there's a sticker to go in that window to tell you that. And also you get the buyer's guide here, which tells you as is or no warranty. And there's also the technology. We have these handy dandy little things now that allow us to access anything from our phones. We are a Carfax certified dealership, therefore we can reach Carfax through our phone and allow us to see if a vehicle has been wrecked before we even buy it. We also have the computer, which serves as a big part of paperwork and allows us to put our paperwork in the computer on a timely manner. And the biggest part of the personal part of the dealership would be the dealer-to-dealer relationships. This, in my opinion, takes the most leadership possible. To build strong dealer-to-dealer relationships, which is quite contrary to being competition, one of the biggest things that you need to do. You shouldn't mudsling other dealers. There's no reason for that. You're selling the same product, and if they happen to have one better, then so be it. They're going to get the sale. You should encourage your inventory to trade. Once a week in Indianapolis and Evansville and Terre Haute and South Bend, there are auctions. One of them is called the Auto Dealers Exchange, which is the one in Indianapolis. They happen once a week, so dealers can exchange vehicles and see if there's anything out there that they cannot live without. You have to have honesty when dealing with dealers, because they will find what you don't want them to. It's inevitable that you have dealer-to-dealer contact, because there's always going to be a vehicle somewhere that you want that another dealer has. Tying in to leadership and social work, running a family business requires that you deal with people on a daily basis, that you deal with the general public, as does social work. This is not in the same manner that social work is conducted in. It is in a completely different light, although the principles are the same. You have to be confident in what you're doing, and you have to have a good sense of knowledge about what you're doing, which are the two most important qualities of leadership. Running a family business is not easy, but it's been part of my life for my whole life, and it's been part of my family's life since 1965. Since I was old enough to remember, my dad, who is now the current owner of this business, has shown a great deal of leadership in keeping this business afloat during the hardest of times. And I'm proud of myself that I'm becoming a fourth-generation salesperson to continue on that family business. The leadership skills that I'm learning through social work are providing me with excellent insight as to how to deal with people on a daily basis and how to continue with what I need to do here. Thank you for your time.